Once upon a time, 3 writers helped crack open the indie publishing world. Then they rode into the sunset, building bigger stories, taking bigger swings, and learning what actually lasts when the noise dies down. Now the band is back together, older, sharper, and uninterested in shortcuts. This is the Smarter Artist Show with Sean Platt, Johnny B. Truant, and David W. Wright. It's the same 3 voices you know talking about the craft and commerce of storytelling, from the work they're creating to the TV shows and movies they can't stop thinking about. Shop talk for artists playing the long game in a creative world that never slows down. If you've been here since the early days, welcome back. If you're new, pull up a chair. You're listening to the Smarter Artist Show. Let's get into it.
So we got an email, and it just had 2 words in it. Piss Daddy? Question mark.
Was that from John Farrago?
I'll spare the person that wrote it the injury of having their name associated with our show.
I wasn't actually joking. That sounds like an email he would send.
Wait. So it just had a subject line, but then there was no actual email?
It just said Piss Daddy. No, there was no subject line. It just said Piss Daddy.
You know, I feel about this
Do I know this person?
I don't think so.
I feel about this daddy thing the way that I feel about, like, when you get into music that is obscure and you're like, I'm the only person who knows about this. It's like the daddy thing has become too, because I was just going to like pull it out as like a cool little reference. I'm like, no, that's like, hey, let me talk about the Fast and the Furious as this obscure film.
Dave, do you think you're ever going to live Piss Daddy down?
No, I will not. It's
Is this like in your top regrets now that you said that? Because it just like, it was so fluid out of your mouth, but immediately we can all feel the regret.
Fluid.
Yeah, I may have said this before, but it's like he tried to walk through the room wearing a beret, just daring us to not notice it.
My son conveniently hovers near my room a lot of times at my office when I'm like doing the shows, and he'll ask me questions about it. He's like, why are they calling you Daddy?
Hey, that's an improvement, because what you used to do is need everybody out of, not just out of the room or proximity, but like out of the state, because you were afraid they were listening in. Yeah.
I would prefer to have the whole house to myself so nobody questions my screaming rant.
One of the things that I have an early something cool. This isn't the real thing, but it is pretty cool. Is watching. So if you go back and you watch the like legacy, self-publishing podcast or whatever, mostly worst show ever. And Dave, you were always like, my wife won't let me corrupt my son, and there was this whole thing. And now it seems like you're corrupting him, which is pretty cool. Like, it seems like he's been corrupted along with you.
Does that mean you won the marriage?
Well, the thing is, I didn't corrupt him. His schoolmates corrupted him, so I was just there to point the what would you? I don't know what you would say. Like a little Jedi. What is that? Padawan? Point him in the right direction.
Well, I don't understand. I thought that everybody at his school is like correct things in the world.
You would think that, but surprisingly or not surprisingly, a lot of the people are not.
So what's Daddy got brewing for us today?
Well, today I opened up talking about piss because we're talking
You can
about.
just leave it there.
Yeah, the whole show's about piss. It's about collaboration and how we collaborate with one another, Sean and I, and you and Sean. And the piss story is something where, well, I'll have Sean tell the story after or something cool. So let's do the
story like 93 times already.
Yeah, but I think some people are just finding us.
Well, if they're just finding us, they're not going to make it to the collaboration part. Oh, here's this good thing on writing. Oh, Piss Daddy. What? I'm out.
Is that the I know that the YouTube the AI has insights. What did it have to say about Piss Daddy?
It actually said
did it mention Piss Daddy?
It did it did say something. Like I didn't realize this.
Did it suggest that we were perhaps using the wrong keywords for our target audience?
Let's do this enough that when you do ask ChatGPT for a summary of David Wright, it'd be like David W. Wright, known as Piss Daddy. I mean, that is his official name. That's what he's going by now. It's all the books are going to be titled Piss Daddy.
The AI actually commented on the show and said the people see, I was afraid it would turn people away, like when we were just talking about that, and it says lean more into the Piss Daddy.
Wait, okay, I actually can't tell if you're joking or not right now.
I'm not, well, not those exact words, and I don't have it up in front of me right now, but it did suggest like that's part of our natural humor and to lean into it. So YouTube wants us to be horrible.
Wow, I kind of love this.
That's my something cool.
RX attract an audience, so.
Oh, that's wonderful. Dave, do you have something cool?
I do have something cool. And my something cool is something that you talked about not too long ago that you and Cindy could not get through.
Oh, is it?
I saw the devil.
Saw the devil.
No, it is something bad is going to happen.
Oh, did you like it?
Oh, that's the title of a TV show. I thought it was just,
Yes.
Yeah.
My biography. Yeah, I liked it a lot. It was. How far did you get?
I got enough to see where it was going and think that they weren't doing it well enough. Which I'm going to say, was it 6 episodes? If it was 6 episodes, I got to episode 4. If it was 8 episodes, I got to episode 6. Like I could have seen it all the way through, but I did not connect with it.
Okay.
I watched Baby Reindeer for the second time instead.
Well, I did. I enjoyed. I like the mystery of it, and it asked a really good question. So the premise is, and I don't want to give too much away. It opens up on a couple getting married, and then, or they're about to get married, and then they flash back like a week or so. I don't know. And the story builds up to then, but essentially, the woman is cursed that she must marry the person that is her soulmate, or she will die. And you learn, like, there's a history to the curse, like a family legacy. So she has a choice. She could either marry this person that she's suddenly wondering, is he the right guy, or leave him, and the curse spreads to his entire family. And that means anybody in his family that is not married to somebody that is truly their soulmate will die, like instantly. So the whole thing leads
That is
up.
kind of a Dave premise.
It does ask you like how well you can truly know somebody. And I think a lot of people, especially, when they're getting married, they don't know, like, am I making a mistake? I mean, this takes that question to the grandest level.
Agreed. But I don't know. I just wanted more than what it was giving me. And I felt like it was piling on a lot of like mythology that the show actually didn't earn. I thought the questions that it were asking was much more interesting than the mythology. And the mythology was just like kind of awkward wrapping paper for some very interesting questions. I don't know. Maybe it was just a mood thing too. And I don't know.
Yeah,
it did hit for me.
I thought they pulled it off well. I mean, I don't want to give anything away. It is a tragedy, essentially, but it doesn't end on a completely horrible note. So that, to me, lifts it up. Like, like if everybody just fucking
Dave
died.
scale, everybody. Dave calibration. There was one child who was left with partial use of an arm.
How many I Saw the Devils would you give this, Dave?
So I immediately have a problem. The scientist in me immediately has a problem with this because I'm thinking that who your soulmate is impossible to quantitatively determine objectively. So how do you do that?
That's a good question. I don't know that you can. I guess
And this show
somebody
doesn't answer it, Johnny.
Yeah, it's hard to say without giving too much away. But essentially, do you really love this person, and are you meant to be together? And whether or not, I mean, I think obviously relationships change over time, and sometimes one person loves one more than the other. It kind of goes back and forth, but I don't think that changes the equation whether they're your soulmate or not. And I think if somebody is together with somebody and they just work and they operate, like I think Sean and Cindy are soulmates. They operate together. They know one another very well, and they complement one another. Hey, that goes with today's show.
But let's play a little game.
I actually reject the term soulmate. So
okay.
So
well, I'm not like a hippie, like twin flames sort of like fucking person where I'm gonna.
I wish you were into twin flames. That'd be amazing. No, I think I actually. So I refer to Cindy as my soul match.
Okay.
Right? Because but it's different than a soulmate. I think a soulmate implies that there's one for you, and I feel like in a world of 8 billion people, like that's just like it's just no. Like I don't believe that there's one person and one person, but but I do feel like I was lucky enough to end up with the person who was perfect for me, and I am perfect for her. But that doesn't mean we're the only people in the world that could have satisfied that equation. Like that's where I break from it. So that doesn't diminish, even a molecule, my love for Cindy, or how well I think.
So you hate your wife, is what you're saying,
or how well I think that we do fit together. I think that we are a great couple, but I don't think that she's my soulmate. I think that she's my soul match. We're soul. I don't believe in soulmates. I believe you could be soulmated.
Okay. Well, I don't know what this show would say about that. And I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess the main question is, how well do you know this person, and how well are you truly in love with them?
And I do like that question. And I liked one thing that I thought the show did well was like the slow creep. So like a lot of things that you saw early on with the fiance, it was like, oh, he's very attentive to her. But then it was like, no, he's kind of a controlling dickhead. And I liked that lens shift. I thought that was great. And I thought at first I really liked the push and pull, where you would see something outlandish, like how are they possibly going to explain this? And then they explain it. And so there's like, 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of rhythm.
Opposites attract, Paul Abdul. Yeah.
Until I just thought it got ridiculous.
But dude, what if you gave me this premise? Like, how many questions, how annoying would I be about, well, how do you define that? How do you define that? So that even the thing you just
give you this premise.
No, even the thing you just said about like he seems very attentive, but then he's a controlling dickhead. Like, I mean, like you could see that different ways. Like everything is subjective. So like, whose standard is this? Is there some ruling body that says that's controlling? No, wait, that's attentive.
I would guess
that's
it's
the problem
what you
with
believe.
the show, Johnny. It asks questions it was not capable of answering.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say that until you watch the full show.
All right, I'm gonna I'm gonna hate watch the last 2 episodes just so we can finish this conversation.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think I don't know if it's an objective or subjective thing. Like whether you believe the person is your soulmate may factor into that. So if you're delusionally happy with somebody that really isn't ticking all the boxes,
According
maybe you're
to
still
you, Dave,
soulmate.
is there any other kind of happy other than delusionary?
Dude,
happy?
I actually could write this premise, but it would have a Black Mirror twist at the end. Like it would. It'd be like the conclusion would be, well, we abuse each other, but that makes us happy. It'd be something twisted like that, where like it's your definition. Yeah, it might be. Well, maybe I need to watch it.
So yeah, that's my something cool. I didn't expect it to generate so much conversation. So do you all have something cool?
Johnny, you want to go?
Mine's short because I'm just really just starting it, but How Music Works by David Byrne, the book or the audiobook. I just think that he's very interesting, and I think that the topic is very interesting. The idea of breaking down why music works. But again, I don't have a lot to report because I'm just getting into it. But
you're going to get one of those giant suits he wore?
I want to get that, the big suit.
Yeah,
it is actually really cool. I want to read that. It goes with my something cool. So my something cool is actually tiered. So this last
tears.
Week, no, not tears. Tears for Fears.
This isn't all about you masturbating, Dave.
My Ethan graduated, and so Cindy and I took a road trip to college and watched the graduation, and it really is fun to see 1,000 strangers' names read out loud. For like I love that. It's totally worth the drive.
Dude, I didn't even. I didn't even go to my graduation from Ohio State because it was like they didn't call people's names. They said College of Arts and Sciences. He stood up. So I worked that
this
day.
is one at a time. It
Yeah.
is.
When I go there, I like to pretend that I'm at the invocation of all of the demons. And I imagine what each demon will look like before they take the stage.
Wow, that's fun. We didn't do that, but we did have Ethan's graduation and Cindy's 60th birthday. So it was a fun little stretch. I took a few days off work, and the real punchline here, or it ties into Johnny's Something Cool, is I finished my first album, and so. This is now I've actually done a lot of music in the last year, which I've talked about here, but this is the first thing that I will actually be releasing, and I really love it. And Cindy and I listened to it many times. So she used to be a music major, and so we've talked which songs worked, which didn't, and refined them, and it was really fun. We listened to it on the way there, on the way back, in the hotel room, just kind of like refining it, and I'm really pleased with it, and I'll have a CTA for it at the.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you're gonna give out a link.
No, I'm not gonna give out. I'll just give the CTA now, actually. So when Dave sends out his dispatch, if you are interested in being an early listener to this, just reply to Dave, and I want to know in a sentence why you want to hear this. And it could just be like, I want to hear you fall on your face. Like, I don't believe that AI music could possibly be good. Like I don't care what it is, but I do want the because. I do want a reason. And as long as there's a reason, then you could be one of the early listeners to this. It will come out next month for everybody.
Do you want to tell people what they're in for? Or do you want to give them like a style, genre? Give them.
Well, he
this
did have
meets
a
that.
guest. He did have a guest on there, DJ Piss Daddy, who like.
Oh my god,
DJ
dude!
Piss
Dude, now I
Daddy.
feel like I need to add a track. I feel like I need to do. No, I won't. The album is done, but
You need to make it. Okay, Run the Jewels. They made a joke album. Run the Jewels 2. They made another album called Meow the Jewels, where they replaced everything with like cats meowing.
All right, dude. I am going to write a song featuring DJ Piss Daddy. So we'll look forward to that. The song, the style is. The styles are all over the place. I'm genre agnostic with my writing, and the music is the same. So I've developed a bunch of specific personas, and I write albums under those personas. But this one is the one that is kind of my alter ego. It's the one that I most of myself into it. I will say that this album, I was telling Bonnie this actually just yesterday. I think this is the most personal thing I've ever written. I think it's the thing that's not even the most personal thing. I think it's the most me thing I've written since Writer Dad, like 15 years ago or however long ago that was. So I'm proud of it. I love it, and I want to share it.
What do you mean by personas? I don't exactly know how that works.
So all the personas, like they have backstories. So like there's one band that I have called Plausible Deniability, and like the lead singer there, his name's Marlo, and Marlo, he used to work for like hospitals or like pharmaceutical companies writing the.
Wait, hold on. Before you finish, I need to pause that. What are you describing? Are you describing? No. Are you describing something that a backstory that you wrote? Because just to be clear, I don't think that Sean is talking about an actual guy who worked for a pharmaceutical company that you've gathered in a room in a studio. So I'm guessing you wrote some backstories to like
yes
inform the lyrics or whatever.
Yes, right. Because I don't think that like I'm not somebody who uses AI to like, hey, write me a song about this. Like I'm writing from a perspective, right? So they're like, it's like pen names, but going a little deeper because they do have perspectives. They have Joel finished an album. Joel and I play with this shit all the time. And Joel finished an album from a band called Moth Karate. And there's three of them, and they're like jazz fusion, and they all have their backstory. And yeah, it's really fun to write that way. But
do you enter that into the software and then it draws from the backstory? You just know it.
I just know it. Yeah. No, the software doesn't give a shit. But I find that if I'm writing lyrics from a perspective, then they're automatically better.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I will do a whole show around this, like in a month or whatever, after you guys listen to it, and you guys can make fun of me all you want or not. But I am proud of the work, and I want to share the work, and I think that it's interesting. And if you want to know, the song that starts this show, the Smart Artist song, and ends the show, that is that artist. That is my persona. So that is the general sound, but it's all hip hop because that's where I find I could be the most playful with language, and that's what I really want to do.
Johnny has never listened to the show.
Well, so I must listen to some of it.
No, I don't think you have since we started.
Well, okay, so I know we don't want to go too deep because we have an actual conversation. You said you're going to talk about it, but would it be accurate to say that it's like writing, because I don't know your process, right? So is it like you write poetry and then you put it to music, or do you have a melody in mind that you like hum out or something, or do you
it depends on the song. Like a lot of times, it just depends. Sometimes, usually it starts with, okay, here's something that I want to say, and then once the poem, for lack of a better term, it's like, once the poem is done, then I'm looking for like the right musical container to put it in. But sometimes I'm starting from like, oh, how would this person express this idea? So here's an example. I've been writing a lot of like fairy tales. So they're like 3-minute, song versions of a fairy tale that we all know. So like Little Red Riding Hood was one that I did recently, but the take is, like how there's a lot of like predators out there, and like we dress up our daughters to like go out, like the big bad wolf is out there, and so like I had a very specific perspective for that song, and I was doing a bunch of fairy tales, and I started writing one on Three Little Pigs, and it was just supposed to be Dave, did I play that one for you?
No, you didn't. I can think of the political implications, though.
No, I think I did. It was called Still Building.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. Okay. Anyway, like I was just writing this basic song about the Three Little Pigs, but it got real personal real fast. And then I ended up changing the persona and ended up being my alter ego one. And it was about how, you keep building and stuff keeps getting knocked down, but like the big bad wolf will come. And like, but people who build things, they build regardless, regardless of whether the wolf comes in.
Oh, I do remember now. Okay. Yes, I do. Okay.
I'm actually asking a slightly different question, but I just threatened to dig deeper into something that was just meant to be like a something cool mention. But I was actually, because I do songwriting as well, but I do it in a much more traditional way. Like I just write it and then I sing it and I play a guitar. Like I don't have other instruments. So, but that work of writing lyrics and melody, they go together, right? Like, so it's like I have to make it fit a cadence or something that I already have worked out. And I'm curious if it's like that, or if it's more like you write a poem and then you have a genre in mind and it kind of jiggers that together for you, or like
sometimes I'm really specific in what I want to hear, and that's just having the language to kind of get the robots to do what you want. And sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it doesn't work at all, and I end up with something very different than what I set out to create. But the I won't really stop until it's something that I would listen to natively. Like if it came on the radio and I didn't want to turn it up, then I don't consider it good enough. I had one that I shared with Dave a couple weeks ago that I really, really love this. And he's like, I love the rap. I love the words. I love everything about this, but I don't want the horns. Can you make it for me without the horns?
Yeah, put it to a trap beat. Make it real.
That's funny.
But yeah, there's the album isn't horn heavy, but I do like, that like conscious hip hop, like with horns. Like I just like that vibe, and it goes with this persona. So anyway, I'll share this all at some point in the future. But if you want to hear it early, just reply to Dave's dispatch email this week, and you'll go on the list.
And you'll also be looking forward to my persona, Eric B. and Rakim, mixed with Waylon Jennings and the Wiggles. It's really out there,
Oh
but
wow,
I
that
feel
sounds amazing. Dude,
Oh my
I am
God.
doing a DJ Piss Daddy song. I'm gonna do it for next week, maybe. I'll have it done for the episode.
I just can't believe I gave my something cool before realizing that Comic Palooza in Houston, which I'm going to be at, and on the 22nd or whatever, has a Pokemon themed drag show, which sounds pretty great. So,
Oh, Dave just left his house for the first time.
yeah, I
in
think
years.
so.
Squirtle,
trip.
Squirtle.
Anyway,
Yeah, all right. Well, back to the real subject at hand, pissing. So, tell the piss story, Sean.
I really do
Quickly,
feel like
though. We've done it
told this
before.
one.
and I think you told the piss story just real recently, like 2 episodes ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
very short piss story. So I've been writing with Dave for
Oh,
over
everybody
10
just tuned
years
out.
at the point that this happened. When some reader like emailed us and said, "Do you know that all of your stories have at least one scene with somebody using the bathroom?" And I don't mean like, Jeremiah went to the bathroom. I mean, like, Jeremiah went in, he closed the door, he sat down, he was reading the paper. Like Dave does.
I like them piss scenes. Could you write more, Dan?
So, what was amazing about this was that I had actually never noticed this, and I find that just like mind boggling. Like, dude, was I really asleep at the wheel? Because I must have edited 2 million words worth of Dave's stories, and I had never noticed this. Now, I also had edited 2 million plus of Johnny's stories. I don't think we have one piss scene ever.
Not a scene. We're
That's
not
the
as niche as Dave is.
That is the piss daddy difference.
It is the piss daddy difference, and it's just it is interesting because Dave won't back down, you guys. Dave is like,
No.
That's like Johnny's abnormal for never having piss scenes. Like, people wake up, they have to go piss. Right?
How can people believe your stories?
Right? He thinks we're.
I need to see them doing everything. They eat, they piss. I haven't had them shit yet, though.
Oh, that's
have.
not true. That is
What?
not true.
What? I don't remember a shit scene.
Oh my God, dude. You don't remember the scene in Yesterday's Gone season 3 with the bucket?
You
Nope.
wrote that, not
I
me.
did not write that. Dude, I'm not the one like obsessed with bathroom shit. You wrote that. You wrote the bucket. And
I
I'm
don't
like,
even
really,
remember
a
what you're
bucket?
talking about.
How
Was
many
it Charlie?
How many people do you think are still listening to the episode? Like
4.
Yeah, 3, 4.
4. And 2 of them are together and they're trying to convince you, like, talking about whether they should stay.
Should we stop? Should we leave?
I hope they talk about soggy biscuits next.
Oh
It's like the end of something bad is gonna happen. They're out.
This episode is the first episode of Black Mirror.
So, yeah, we were going to tie that into collaboration.
We got 25, 30 minutes. Go.
So, okay, so that is something that you noticed, although you didn't really notice. Somebody else noticed. You didn't notice it. Somebody else noticed it. But it is one of those things where, you have a creative partnership and you notice things about my writing. I noticed things about your writing, and we kind of helped one another. How did that evolve for you? And then I'll ask about Johnny. Between you and I, how did that evolve?
Well, I think in the early days, you really helped me a lot because when we first started writing together, I was all instinct. Like I had no training. I hadn't worked with Bonnie. I hadn't worked with I had some craft books that I had read, and I'd absorbed thousands of books. So I'm good at pattern recognition, but that's all it was. That's actually what I think makes me a good songwriter. It's just pattern recognition. I love music. I pay attention to lyrics. Like I know what I want to hear, but that's all it is. It's pattern recognition. And one of the things that I really loved about this last this album that I'm actually going to put out in the world versus all the things, because I had a what I'd call my mixtape last December, and the difference between this cut and that last version is pretty substantial, but it's because it's the muscle memory, it's the reps. And I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was operating on a lot of instinct, and I've written, I don't know, 200 songs since, just trying to like get better and better and better. And so the writing was exactly the same. Like, I didn't have any training. I just knew, we've linked to it a few times, that Ira Glass thing about when you're starting out and there's this gap between like what your taste is. Like, if you have good taste, you know what you want, but you can't really get there yet. You could just kind of like poke at the edges of it. So writing was like that for me for a while. But you had worked at a paper. You had some background as a journalist, and so you were really a great critical reader in the early days, and that really helped. I remember, like, even now, I'm still, as a writer, I barely have any characters like shake their heads. Like, it's very rare. I'm aware of it every single time I like someone shook their head, and it's because this was in 2012, so it was early in our writing career, maybe 2013, and I had, like, I don't know, it was a tick. As writers, we all have ticks. We have these things that we just like rely on, and mine was characters shaking their heads.
Or jerking their thumbs.
Oh, do I do that too?
Oh yeah, still do that, I think.
So your comment in all caps, because Dave loves to yell at me in writing, so it was all in caps. He goes, "What, is every character you have a fucking bobblehead?" And so I'm just like, now every time I have
that's a caring kind of like mentor you need, right?
Yo, totally. But I also think that's always worked with our collaboration. Like, we're very direct with each other, and we use humor. Like, I think that it's like, if you were just like, "What the fuck is your problem with all your characters shaking heads?" I wouldn't react well to that. But are all your characters fucking bobbleheads is funny. Like, I'm like, oh, well, okay. Now I'm just like, that's the image I have now, is them all just like bobbleheading. And so it was one of those, okay, instant cures.
Slight formatting note. I only probably used all caps, not to scream, but just so it stood out in the copy, so you could easily read it. And
it was in a comment. You were definitely screaming.
Yeah, but we have like different comments, and sometimes I think in Scrivener, if we were using that, all the comments are yellow, so you can't really tell whose comment is whose.
Yeah. Well, and Johnny was really good at making fun of me for precious words, right? Where I would have like
Vapor,
yeah, vapor.
I got the vapors.
Nursing coffee, that kind of thing. And so I like that is one of the reasons that I love collaboration so much. I feel like you get better if you're working with honest collaborators who are direct with you. It's a great way to get better at your craft.
So, can you walk us through the process of you guys? Do you get together and like brainstorm stuff before you write it?
I'll answer that. It's changed over time, and it's not a deliberate change. It's just kind of how things have changed. Well, I would say it's a responsive change. It's responsive largely to just the change in, I don't know, we're getting older. I've gotten kind of squirrely. Like, there have been some things where we've had difficulty with getting through some stuff, and so some of that has changed to the point where I don't remember sincerely what the best arrangement was. I know the times it was best, but I don't remember mechanically, and we've talked about this. I'm just like, what did we used to do, damn it? Because there were so many iterations.
I can talk about what we used to do when it was like the most fluid.
Well, I'll give my answer, because I've been asked about this a bunch, and then you can fill in the gaps. So the way that it's always worked, and I know that Sean has adapted to every different collaborator differently. So you guys, for instance, did that thing in Yesterday's Gone where you each picked a character and you would write fully chapters and then make it all work together. We've never worked that way, so I've always done all of the drafting, which means that usually Sean is coming up with the world and the plot elements and the character bios and the plot and all of that stuff ahead of time and giving me like a package. And then usually I would go in it and I would do what I was just doing when you were talking about the TV show. Like, well, wait, how would that work? How would you define this? How would you? And and then we would discuss those questions. So I remember when we did the Dream Engine, which was 2014, so it was still early in ours, we did it exactly that way. And I remember marking it up. I remember sharing images of like my notes, and then we talked about them. And then once I had grounding, I would then write, and then we would meet usually weekly, and Sean would have read what I'd written or be close. And then we would say basically kind of what happens next. And we would keep abreast of it that way. And then Sean would do all of the revising and editing at the end. Now, we've gone through a few versions. I know Unicorn Western was super stripped down, and I didn't ask as many questions. I just kind of like Clint and Edward go up on the bluffs and meet some bandits.
But we had a cheater on that, in that until we got to the very end where we just did our own thing.
All the reference Westerns. Yeah.
Yeah. The references existed. So we would watch those movies. And that was fun. We would watch the movies and we would say, okay, if this is based on High Noon, it's a bit like, so the very first Unicorn Western it really is just High Noon with magic and unicorns and whatever,
and not trying to hide it. I mean, I've told everybody about that. And there's a chapter called High Noon. The second book is The Searchers. There's a chapter called The Searchers. So yeah, it's clear homage.
So,
well, I'm sorry. Were you done? I thought I interrupted you, Sean.
Oh, no.
Oh, I thought you had more. Okay, yeah.
Well, okay, yeah. So I will talk about the way that we used to do it was Unicorn Western is where we got our start, and that was it was that simple. Like we would watch a actually, okay, correct me if I'm wrong here, Johnny. What I think that used to be was we would watch the movie, and then we would have a meeting, and then we would talk about what we liked about that version of the Western and how it would fit in. And then I would give you very, very simple beats. But back then the beats were like epic unicorn battle. And then you would like kind of write up to and around that. And the longest a beat would be for a chapter is maybe a paragraph. Like they were very skeletal, but we had skeletal beats paired with, we had just watched the movie and had a conversation around it. And so that was kind of enough to inform us. And then when we got to the Beam was our next project, and that was so much more complicated, and that required that had a whole giant like world Bible and timeline, and then you kind of like interrogated me, like, okay, well, how did that
work? Yeah,
and like you invented shift because you're like, I don't buy that. So there's Enterprise and there's Directorate are the two political parties in the Beam. And you were like, I don't buy that you would just like be one of these parties forever. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, what if you want to change? And then we were like, well, you can't just change anytime you feel like it, because then there's no stakes. And so it was like, well, what if every 6 years there's something called shift? And it's like, the world opens up and you can decide which affiliation you want. And if you want to shift, you could shift, which was not only just an amazing suggestion, so much of what happens in the world of the Beam is organized around shift. It's like we open up at shift, and all the things that happen are only happening in the story because it's a period of shift.
It became the election, essentially.
Yeah.
And I will say, because you said, I think you gave too much, I think you gave more depth than actually happened on the Unicorn Western thing, because I actually don't think we talked about what we liked and didn't like about the movie. I think it was like, probably we both watched the movie, you created the beats, and I just wrote from the beats. And so this makes me want to say that we always have used references to some great degree. And Unicorn Western is like the extreme version of using the references because it was straight homage. But there's always been something. So like we've always been able to say, this story is like this in this very focused particular way, or this chapter is this way, or this scene, or this particular interpersonal reaction.
This character,
the
like
characters,
but not just like, oh, this would be.
Wasn't
Josh
just
Holloway.
Daniel Day-Lewis in whatever it was in Gangs of New York. Like that was the character for Daw Blackburn.
Right. Daw Blackburn. Daw Blackburn in Dream Engine is not just Daniel Day-Lewis. It's Daniel Day-Lewis as Bill the Butcher. And so like that's something that shorthand, like Johnny and I always like thrived on that. Dave doesn't dig that. Like Dave doesn't.
Well, I think the references are the third collaborator in a way. Like I think I need those. Like the projects that we didn't have clear references for, or that we added references at the end. So like Pattern Black, I really like Pattern Black, but man, was that a boondoggle to write. And now we say it's The Matrix meets Escape from New York meets Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But that was retrospective. That was after it was done. And during the project, we didn't have those touchstones as much. And I seem to work really well if I have a large amount of reference per the number of words that that reference is covering, which is why I think Unicorn Western works so well, is we would have, an hour and a half or a 2-hour movie to cover 25,000 words. And just to be clear, if anybody hasn't read Unicorn Western, we aren't aping it. It's not like it's more like taking it as touchstones. And it's like High Noon is sheriff is in retirement, bad guy comes to town, sheriff comes out of retirement to fight him. That much is how much we borrowed. But then there's like little, I don't know, I've always enjoyed cultural references and tying in things that people would know. And so that's always been part of the challenge, and it's always made it easier to write.
That's why RoboCop is in 34% of all things that Johnny writes.
Well, references anyway. Yeah. And Snake Plissken is in at least two books, if you know, just to look for a guy with an eye patch. And I think in one of the Beam ones, he literally says, "Call me Snake." So just because it's fun, like I don't want to hide my references, I want to show them off.
No, not at all. And I like how you refer to that, Johnny, as it's a third collaborator because it is. So for you, it's reference, and for me, it's fun. They're like, it's easy on ramps. I can see what we're doing better. I can see how it fits into like the zeitgeist or like the culture there, and that's really appealing to me. And so I do think of it as a third collaborator, and it's something that like I have at times wished that Dave would lean a little more into, because I feel like it makes the projects a little more fluid, and it gets us when you are collaborating, it gets you on the same page too, because you know that you're talking about the same thing, you're seeing it the same way. But I think that Dave, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you feel like it makes something less original, where you're borrowing from something else. But to me, you're like, I'm always borrowing from everything I've ever seen. Like that's how creativity works. So
I'm not human.
I believe that, but
I'm not a cop. I'm an asshole.
So yeah, I feel like it's really additive to the process, but I think that Dave thinks that it makes things more derivative. So there's always been that, like, I don't know, barrier there.
Yeah, when I write a story, the characters exist in my head in a certain way. I'm not thinking of a movie or a character in a movie. I'm thinking of a person that is like fully formed or forming in my head, and I see it. Sometimes I might think of, they look like this actor or actress. That's about as far as I'll go. But I don't
see. For me, it's not even like they look like. I don't care about what someone looks like. It's well,
that's just for me to visualize in my head as I'm like doing the little play in my head.
It's the mannerisms. Like if I was going to make, and I am always trying to think in terms of, hey, if this was on TV, or hey, if this was a movie, like that is the direction we want to go. So it is very natural for me to think in terms of producing or show running, and think, what kind of actor would I want? Because that gives a certain energy to the character.
Christoph Waltz is Boricio.
Never.
Oh, I could see that. And like an alternate version, I guess.
So I will say, for Yesterday's Gone, Johnny touched on that a little bit. Sean and I wrote the first book, or the first episodes, I forget how we started or how far it went, but at least the first episode, which was like, I don't know, 40,000 words or something, we each took a certain number of characters and we wrote our own parts. We had basically a bunch of people woke up, everybody was gone except for them. What the fuck happened? And we each were answering that question without talking to one another, without working together, and how our different characters would handle it. And interestingly, at first we didn't tell each other what characters we were going to do, and we came up with archetypes. So I had a serial killer in mind, and I talked to Sean, and he said something about he also had a serial killer. So I was like, okay, well, since I have another action
my
hero,
serial killer was better than your serial killer.
Sean was like, okay, take off the clown suit.
And the funny thing is, like, I had a different character, and he was more of a mystery man. Like, was he or was he not a government agent? So I like that character more than I like my serial killer. My serial killer I had wasn't really well developed yet. He was a one note sort of thing, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with him. So when Sean had a serial killer, I was like, okay, well, that's good. I'll just focus more on my other guy, Ed. So then when I read Sean's Boricio Wolf, it was like a fucking revelation. The way he used language, and it was way different than I would write any character. Boricio's all swagger. And there's a confidence there that I think a lot of people loved and connected with. And that's an example of Sean and I coming together, and we each brought something different to the story. And it was better because of that that collaboration, stronger than it would have been had we each like wrote that story on our own. I think.
Yeah, I think a great collaboration, you're kind of pushing the other person a lot, and so I think in both collaborations it works in very different ways. But I think in a good collaboration, you're working to impress each other. So when I wrote Boricio for the first time, my thought to Dave was like, I did want to make Dave laugh, but that doesn't really move the needle for Dave so much. Like,
you have to tickle me.
Yeah, it was more like I wanted him to be impressed with this character. And I'm a rule breaker, so we had our three characters, and one of my characters was a neighborhood. It was like because I
Either
also
that or a
need
dog.
Well, I
had a dog too.
I did have a dog. Well,
Dog Vader.
I needed dialogue. Like I need writing someone just in a solo. So Boricio had his inner monologues, and he talks to himself, and so that allowed me to get away with that. And then my other character was a little 8-year-old boy who also talked to himself because that's how he was coping. And then a little, like a whole neighborhood that had kind of survived, or like 5 or 6 people in a neighborhood that had survived. And that allowed me to do one of the things that was a crutch for me at the time, honestly, was dialogue. Like I can write dialogue fast. And so I needed that. But I also wanted to pass my chapters to Dave and have him say, fuck, I'm really glad I'm collaborating with this guy. Like that was part of what I was trying to do there. And the decisions that I made ultimately served the story, but that's because they were trying to serve my collaborator first. When I work with Johnny, I'm always trying to make him laugh. Like humor is, even if we're writing something like really sober, humor is a big driver for both of us. And I'm trying to make him laugh in the beats, the premises, the character names, even if they go a little too far, like Nestle Quick as the quick draw in Unicorn Heathens. And then I can feel it right back when I'm reading Johnny's prose. He's clearly like having a good time and trying to amuse me. And so we have that, like we're obviously having fun on the page. And I think that does transfer to the reader. I think that the reader feels our energy, and that's what makes our books fun to read.
So Sean, he wanted to impress me on the page, and what I liked to do and what really inspired me was a lot of the times I came up with the cliffhanger that ended each episode. And I wanted to surprise Sean in like the best ways, like with holy fuck moments every time. And I think doing that propelled the book cliffhangers to work for the audience. Like we were all about the cliffhanger, and I think that series delivers some hell of a awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know what one of my favorite cliffhangers of all time is?
On
Yes,
when the guy's holding it as long as he can before he has to piss.
Is it the end of what is it, episode 2?
End of season 2. Yeah,
end of season 2.
End of season 2. And what I loved about that cliffhanger, I mean, I don't think it's much of a spoiler. The whole thing's 15 years old or however old, but like basically one character comes in and just opens fire on a bunch of people, and it was one of those cliffhangers that I really love when not when it's in a cheap show, but when you're in the hands of a really good storyteller. Like Vince Gilligan is a good example. When you see like some crazy cliffhanger on Breaking Bad, and you're like, how are they possibly going to get out of this? But then they do. Like I love that. And the end of season 2 of Yesterday's Gone, we had just been writing long enough where I was like, I have no idea how we're going to get out of this, but we're going to. And when you find that in a collaboration, it's magic. Johnny and I have
We've done that.
And Future of Sex was the first time I remember having this like we basically were like, how do we do the sharpest cliffhanger we possibly can? And it was somebody who no longer had a uterus and becomes pregnant. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna figure this out.
And anything that we could think of that might have been a way out of that, not that I can think of any right now, we crossed off in the cliffhanger episode. So it was like we cut all bridges to this island and then had to figure it out. And I just remember being like, well, it wasn't that big a deal. It was like, it was an interesting intellectual exercise, but it was hard. I remember not being worried about it. I was like, we'll figure something out.
But that's the point, the not being worried about it. It's like you get to a point in the collaboration where you just know things work. It's a trusting the process thing. And I mean, I think that was like 2 years we took off before we got to the next episode of that. Like there was a substantial break before we came back to it, but and we kept putting it off too. It's like, well, when we go back to it, we do have to solve this problem.
See, I don't remember it being that long at all, but maybe that's my memory.
Well, it was. I don't remember how long it was, but it was a while for sure. There was a big break in that series, and then we finished it out. But I think that when you achieve that in a collaboration, when you just know that, like, it may get difficult, but the other side of it is going to be amazing, and all the solutions are there. Like Johnny and I are suffering. Like suffering's a big word, but we're wrestling with some of our story stuff right now, because as is our habit, we got a little big. The story's sprawling out a little bit, and we need to figure out how to like restrain it and get to it. But I think that even though it's a little bit messy, we're both like, yeah, it's going to work out, because it always works out. And we know how to get to the other side. Even, our hardest book ever was Pattern Black, which Johnny talked about earlier. And we didn't have a lot of touchstones. And we had a third collaborator there that wasn't media. It was an actual other collaborator that we both felt
we didn't have enough boundaries. That's the problem. If you get big like that, we need to break it up into segments or phases or something, because it's just, you get too far out. It's like you spool out all the rope to hang yourself with,
and then you do.
Yeah.
And so and Dave and I've been there too, where something just gets too big, or we lose the thread because, okay, there's been too many seasons of this thing, and now we don't know what we said, what we don't say, and then we wrote 2 other series.
The Beam was that way.
Yeah, it gets hard. So I think part of a great collaboration is like knowing what your strengths are, but also knowing what your weaknesses are. And I think that in both collaborations here, we're better now at knowing what our strengths and weaknesses are than before. And like the projects that Dave and I are working on, we're very intentional on, okay, this is something that we can do very, very well at a high level. It's not going to take us a long period of time. Our new script, which I think Dave's like 95% done with, was very much picked on. These are what our sensibilities are, and we can lean into our tropes and have it work for us instead of being like tired.
So, one of the hangups I had before I met you, I never thought I would collaborate with anyone because, while I don't have a big ego, to me, this story is real in a way. Like, I thought of this thing, and therefore it really exists somewhere. Not in the physical, literal sense, but in a way. And having anybody else like come in and fuck it all up, like, scares the hell out of me. So I think finding the right person that you can collaborate with also involves give and take on your part. Like how much are you willing to bend? What are you willing to change if you have to? And how do you find somebody like that?
That's a good question.
I wasn't looking for it, so I don't know how to tell you that. I didn't think I'd ever collaborate. It took having too good of a joke to not write it, and then it was like, well, I guess we're writing that together. So I honestly don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah, I think that you have to. I don't know. I think you have to have your eyes open, and you need to be looking for collaboration. I have a long gestating book on collaboration that I would like to write it sooner rather than later. Hopefully this year. There is a first version of it that exists that I wrote with Bonnie. I don't know, like 5-6 years ago, called the Collaboration.
Can't believe that book's still around.
But the I don't know. I've learned a lot about collaboration in the last few years. I feel like I have a lot to add, for good and bad. And so I want to. Anyway, I think that great collaborations, they take a lot of work, but I think that you get exponential returns. And I think that you also have to acknowledge when a collaboration isn't working, and be able to part ways and find one that does.
And speaking of parting ways, it is now time to part ways. If this conversation gave you something to think about, you won't want to live without the Dispatch. Head to smarterartist.net/dispatch. Sign up and you'll get two things right away: a copy of Smarter Artist and the workbook that goes with that. We will see you in your inbox.
Should they leave reviews in any way?
Yeah, leave reviews on all the various podcast places.
I may be referring to a specific thing. that
right.
may be in the chat. Just saying.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
So yes, what Dave means is
motherfucker.
All right,
I didn't see that.
Go.
What's that?
Here's your chance to redeem it. Go.
Okay. All right. Okay. We would love if you could do a review of the Smarter Artist Method, the book that we have out there. It's super helpful, and if you read it and got something out of it, leave a review on Amazon or wherever you got it from.
Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.
Party
Bye.
on.
Adios.
They chase the spark, we own the dark. They feed the scroll, while we leave a mark. No tricks, no hacks, just the code they lack. Yeah. We stay on the rails while they fall off the track. Smarter artists never die. Yeah. We don't lay stone for spectacle, don't frame for applause. We build the boring way, with discipline and pause. They expect the penthouse view before the footing is set. A crown without calluses, a win without sweat. The craft is in the mortar, not the hunger for more. Not the facade that cracks with a hollowed out core. You want the trick, it's tedious, it's thankless, it's true. Show up with intention till the structure starts showing you. They go fast, we go far. Paper planes versus iron bars. They chase spikes, we stack days. We build the house that never fades. Let them run, let them fly. Smarter artists never die. Yeah. Yeah. They chase vanity metrics that die at the peak. We pour the slow foundations while they sprint for the streak. We don't rent our attention to whatever blows through. We're setting corner posts for storms they never knew. We're not racing to the ribbon, we're widening the base. Let the footing fully cure before the frame locks in place. Every draft's another course, every session's a beam. We're not chasing momentum, we're constructing the dream. They go fast, we go far. Paper planes versus iron bars. They chase spikes, we stack days. We build the house that never fades. Let them run, let them fly. Smarter artists never die. They'll throw parades while you're still setting the forms. Pop champagne and glass towers while you're bracing for storms. Some nights you wonder if the blueprints are lie, if the long game's just patience that forgot how to fly. But scars become low bearing when the structure survives. When the fast builds crack open and the slow ones stay alive. We don't ask for permission, we don't wait to be seen. We're drafting our futures in the quiet in between. They go fast, we go far. Paper planes versus iron bars. They chase spikes, we stack.